right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little San Francisco Giants video as the Giants picked up kind of an interesting pickup, and we'll talk about it next. First, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Get the brisket chili. Go say to Damon and Mary. Tell them the Krug sent you. And this video also brought to you by our good friends at Underdog Fantasy. I'm loving Underdog Fantasy. Check that link in the description. Use the promo code Krug, K-R-U-E-G, and they will match you up to your first $100. Let's talk about kind of an interesting little development as far as the Giants offseason. There was a report out just today, or just this weekend, I should say, from Jim Bowden, the former GM of the Nationals and the Reds, who writes for The Athletic currently. And he said, I've been told by multiple agents that the Giants are all in on this year's free agent market and appear prepared to spend significant dollars on multiple star-level players. I'll be surprised if they don't sign at least 2 impact free agents this offseason. They can't land Cody Bellinger. I think they'll pursue Juan Soto in a trade, but I highly doubt the Padres will trade him within their division if they do move him. So who are the Giants going to sign? Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Cody Bellinger. I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see who they sign, who they come away with. They have excited their fans and then disappointed their fans many, many times in the last 2 or 3 years. And I don't know what kind of equity Farhan Zaidi really has with the fan base any longer. Farhan is not known as a guy who can land the big fish in a trade or in free agency. He really almost has never done that. He did trade for Chris Bryant. They did sign Carlos Rodon, but I mean, they have basically swung and missed on Bryce Harper, on Giancarlo Stanton, on Aaron Judge, on Carlos Correa, and have always talked a big game at the trade deadline and delivered nothing. This year, he talked up what they were going to do, and then he added A.J. Pollock, who didn't even get one singular hit, and then they cut him loose. So Farhan's track record of the boy who cried wolf is not necessarily all that promising as far as giving us confidence that the Giants are on the verge of signing anybody, let alone any of the big names that Jim Bowden is talking about. But the Giants did, the one thing Farhan does do is he makes beneath the radar moves, and some of them work out. See Mike Yastrzemski, see Tyro Estrada. And there's a couple others along the way that have worked out. Many that haven't, but a few that have. Anyway, the interesting move of the weekend is the Giants have signed outfielder Yusniel Diaz, who once upon a time was one of the top international prospects in the Dodgers organization. He originally signed with the Dodgers in 2015 out of Cuba on a deal worth $15.5 million. He was a high-profile signing for LA, and then they wound up moving him to the Baltimore Orioles in the 2018 trade that netted the Dodgers Manny Machado. So we went on to Baltimore. And then Diaz ended up coming back to the Dodgers after he was outrighted by the Orioles, signing a minor league deal with the Dodgers in February of last year. He spent the year at Tulsa in Double-A and then elected free agency at the end of the year, and he's found a new home. He agrees to a minor league contract with the Giants. So this is interesting. Of course, Farhan Zaidi at one point or another had a role in the Dodger front office. He was the Dodgers general manager when they originally signed Yusniel Diaz, and now he gets a chance to see if he can help Diaz become a major league fixture. Diaz had a decent year in the minors last year. He slashed 278 with a 374 on base and a 484 slugging. He had 16 home runs and drove in 60 runs over 94 games that he played in the minors. He's going to have to work his way up in the Giants system, but the Giants, may have a good young player down the line if he continues to perform. So it didn't work out for him with the Dodgers, but maybe it will work out with him playing for the Giants. if nothing else, it's a very interesting name. Now, let's talk a little bit more about Diaz. Um, he's at this point, 26, 27. He's 6'1", 210-pound outfielder. He hits right-handed and he throws right-handed. And he's got a projectable frame, narrow shoulders, kind of a wide lower half. His hitting tool is his calling card. This guy's supposedly a really good hitter. He's got a short, compact swing that does not a lot of moving parts, and he's got good bat control, high contact rates in the minor leagues, low swing and miss tendencies. He's got an advanced feel for the strike zone, and he should, as time goes on, produce a high on base percentage. Most scouts give him his highest grade for his hit tool, with a 55 hit tool grade across the board. Now, power, he's got some inconsistent power, um, but they think he's got potential to have above average power. He's not shown ability to use the power effectively in game situations yet, but he's got solid mechanics. And they're saying that he's got a good attack angle on the ball. So they're saying that he's got a 50 power tool. As far as his fielding, he's an average runner. He's got a good first step, and they're saying he can play. They consider him average across all three outfield spots. Probably not a center fielder. I think that was the thought coming up, that he was going to be a center fielder. He's now considered more of a corner outfielder. He's got an above average arm in the outfield, though. He's got good throwing mechanics, good instincts. And they're saying that the scouting reports say that he can be a plus defender. He could be a right fielder because he's got a combination of good instincts and a good outfield arm. They grade his arm as a 55. And then as far as a runner, he doesn't have great base running instincts. He's got average pure speed. They say he may improve over time, but he's got good foot speed in the outfield, they say, and he tracks balls well in the gaps. Overall, he's been inconsistent, but he flashes the tools of an everyday outfielder, and he's considered to be a good hitter with the possibility of having above average power. He's still young. They still say he's pretty projectable. He might be a platoon player, which Giants fans don't want to hear. But that's interesting. I mean, it's an interesting signing nevertheless. Why? Because once upon a time, Yusniel Diaz was considered to be an elite prospect and a guy who could be a full-time starter in the big leagues. And, he went to Baltimore in the Machado deal and didn't fulfill his potential, came back to LA, but showed some good things offensively this last year. Now he's a minor league free agent, and the Giants bring him in and they'll take a look. So remember that name this spring. If you're going to Arizona in March, look for Yusniel Diaz. Will the Giants be able to land big time players like they're seeking this offseason? I don't know. I got to be honest, I'm a little skeptical. But for every big name guy that they pursue, Farhan does have some value as far as being able to identify, guys who are further down the rung. And he was in LA's organization when they signed this kid out of Cuba. They wouldn't have given this kid $15.5 million if he didn't have some serious talent. And I've talked to a couple different baseball people that believe that he's going to contend for a spot in March somewhere in a significant role in the Giants outfield. So remember that name. Yusniel Diaz is your latest San Francisco Giant. All right. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. And thanks to all you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.